Beer here back in the fantasy bar. 6 of my favorite plays from Monday, and we're going to do a little happy hour. Some of my favorite value plays, guys I think are too cheap, and of course, my favorite play of the night. Who is it? Belly up to the fantasy bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Monday edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. Good to be back here once again in the fantasy bar with 6 of my favorite NBA plays across both FanDuel and DraftKings. Hope everybody out there had a great weekend. We wrapped up the NFL regular season, so we head into the playoffs. Excited about that. But we're here to talk some NBA hoops. Nice slate of games for us, and I got 6 guys fresh off the tap for you for FanDuel and DraftKings. Again, going to do some happy hours, some value plays, some guys I think are too cheap. But before we get into the plays, guys, as I always do in the beginning of these videos, you know the drill. Hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us out over there on YouTube. Only takes a second. And thank you for that in advance. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and get notified when these videos are coming out. All right, let's jump into things. I promised you some value in mid-range plays. That's exactly where we're going to start with Josh Richardson of the Mavericks. So we'll see what happens here with the status of Luka. We saw him miss the game last night. I'm not expecting them to rush him back into the lineup here. We're early in the season. We know Luka is their franchise. So we'll see. If he's out, obviously a big boost to a lot of guys. We saw Jalen Brunson come in and have a massive game. If you look at the stats, Tim Hardaway Jr. gets a massive usage bump without him in the lineup. But let's not forget about Josh Richardson, a guy that delivers a nice floor. We haven't really got a big game out of him, but we know he's certainly capable of popping off 4 big games, and I think those are coming. When you're playing the amount of minutes that Josh Richardson is playing, those big games are on the horizon, and a matchup with Houston, exactly the type of game where we can unlock that ceiling. In fact, 5th most fantasy points allowed to the shooting guard position here for the Rockets. We know they are not interested in playing defense. If Harden is in, we know Josh Richardson's going to have to play a ton of minutes defensively on James Harden. Even if not, add it all up. Even if Luka's back, I still like these prices here on a guy playing an absolute ton of minutes. Get him in those Monday night lineups. All right, let's continue with the value. Let's go down low at center with Tristan Thompson of the Celtics. Now, I know, not one of the sexier names. It would have been easy to come in here and say play Joel Embiid, some of the higher-end centers, but Thompson, a guy I think is very good value right now. We've seen them go to more of a big lineup here with Kemba Walker out of the lineup, and that means big minutes here for Tristan Thompson, and he's delivered 2 double-doubles now in the last 3 games. And if you go cheap at center on FanDuel, generally gives you a different lineup build with all the studs there. If Thompson gets you into the 30s and those guys don't go nuts and go 60, 70, you're at a big advantage there, not only with a different lineup, but the ability to spend that money elsewhere. And this matchup with Toronto, I think a lot of people are going to shy away from it. It's a team we haven't traditionally gone against with our bigs, but there's no more Serge Ibaka, no more Marc Gasol. Still very good defensively, no doubt, but not the same team. Not afraid to take a center against them, especially one as cheap as Tristan Thompson, under 4,500 on both sites. All right, let's stay under the 6K mark here at small forward or power forward, DARIUS BAZLEY of the Thunder. Now, this guy, I think, a lot of potential. We'll talk about that in a minute, but just look at that last game alone. Highs in scoring, rebounding, fantasy points, the potential through the roof here. It's basically SGA, and then it's wide open. And I really think this guy can become the second option there in Oklahoma City. Now, let's look at the matchup here with Miami. Again, one of those teams that we generally don't target a lot of guys against, but they've really struggled with players like BAZLEY. A guy that's versatile, can score. We see in the DVA, 27th there, 5th most fantasy points allowed, 2 power forwards. And again, talk about a ton of potential here. You're starting to see some of it. He's going to have plenty of opportunity to show it. And I think these big ceiling games, we're not quite done yet. I think we haven't seen the best of DARIUS BAZLEY, but I think we start to see it here moving forward. And tonight under 6K, going to take my shots here on Monday night. All right, staying in the mid-range again, trying to save you guys money. Leave your room for those studs. Let's go to small forward or power forward, Harrison Barnes of the Kings. Now again, it's kind of like Tristan Thompson. It's not the sexiest name. It's not a guy that's going to go out and score 100 fantasy points. It's a guy you can plug in your lineup and feel pretty damn good about it. Barnes off to a very good start this season. 30 or more DraftKings points now in 5 of the first 6 games. This matchup with Golden State absolutely fits him to a T. They really struggle with players like Harrison Barnes. Fantasy points as well as you'd expect. Second most allowed. I think this game, very stackable, very high total here. A lot of cheaper and mid-range pieces makes this stack very easy. Even paying up for Steph Curry coming off that huge game, can still stack this game. Even if not, I think Harrison Barnes, a tremendous cash game floor. I think the ceiling is there as well, as he's shown so far this year, and the prices just have not caught up to it. Add it all up, Harrison Barnes, a solid value here on Monday night. All right, another mid-range play for you here with RJ Barrett of the Knicks. Now, we talked about RJ Barrett before, and you're going to see this guy a lot in the six-pack. I'm a big fan of Barrett, big fan of Tibbs being there. That means a ton of minutes here for guys like RJ Barrett. I mean, we're talking 37, 38, 40 minutes per game here for these starters, and he's starting to pay off. I know Julius Randle has been the headliner there for the New York Knicks, but it's really RJ Barrett who's going to end up being the man in New York. But let's take a look at the stats. Double-digit points in every game this season. Has given us 5 or more rebounds in every single game this season. And we know he's a guy that can hit every single category as well. And I look at these prices, feels more like a guy that should be in the 7Ks. We're getting him just a tad under that on DraftKings and way down at 6,100 on FanDuel. I know the Hawks been better defensively, but I still like this matchup. Love these prices on RJ Barrett. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Monday night. But before we do that, guys, we're going to continue our Beast in the Night contest. Free. A thank you to you guys for watching the video. All you have to do, get in the comment section right below the video and tell me your guess in fantasy points for my favorite play of the night on DraftKings. The closest guess will win themselves either a 3-day pass to RotoGrinders Premium, or we'll send you a free RotoGrinders t-shirt. So without further ado, let's take a look at my favorite play of the night. You know, Matt's the Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. We've saved you a lot of money. We're going to spend up here on a stud at the point guard position. We're going to go with Trae Young of the Hawks, tonight's Beast of the Night. No, you guys probably thought I was going with Steph Curry there, but I don't have an issue with Curry, but I think this is going to be an ownership thing. Steph coming off that massive game, scoring 62 points last night. Another good matchup here tonight. I think a lot of people are going to go that direction, and that's going to push the ownership down here on a guy like Trae Young. So I'm not saying Steph Curry is the wrong play. Hell, play them both if you can, but anytime I can get a discount on the ownership with a guy the ceiling just as high as Steph Curry in Trae Young, I'm going to take advantage of it. Now, performance-wise, been absolutely phenomenal. Has only been under 40 once this season. That was that last game, and he barely missed that 37 DraftKings points. And we've talked about Elfrid Payton before. The Knicks atrocious defensively against point guards. Take advantage here. I think Trae Young has a big game. In fact, he has his biggest game of the season here. Love the stack here. Love him in cash games or even as a one-off in tournaments on both sites under 10K. Any way you want to play it, Trae Young, my favorite play of the night and tonight's Beast of the Night. All right, guys, that wraps up here for Monday night in the NBA in the Fantasy Bar. Any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section, or can reach out and follow me on Twitter at Beermakersfan. Also, make sure you join us Wednesday night on RotoGrinders, the first ever DFS OGs basketball show. We've been doing football podcasts for 3 years. Head Chopper, Notorious, and myself will be invading Grinders Live at 5:30 Eastern to break down the NBA slate each and every Wednesday over on RotoGrinders. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salute. Best of luck here tonight, guys, and we'll see you Wednesday night.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist